Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I am audible and visible to you all clearly. Okay, fine. So, today we are supposed to complete the chapter The Tsunami. We are in the third portion, and after completing the chapter, if I am having some time, then we can also go for discussing the answers of few questions. So, let us start. Before the giant waves slammed into the coast in India and Sri Lanka, wild and domestic animals seemed to know what was about to happen. They fled to safety. According to eyewitness accounts, elephants screamed and ran for higher grounds. Dogs refused to go outdoors. Flamingos abandoned their low lying breeding areas, and zoo animals rushed into their shelters and could not be enticed to come back out. So now we are given some instances, as I have already told you in my earlier class, that is yesterday, that this whenever this kind of natural disaster, natural calamity comes, any kind of storm, any kind of earthquake is supposed to happen, what we see is uh, means we see a kind of sudden awareness in these animals and birds. Okay, they as if come to know that something is going to happen before a long time back. Okay, like maybe 1 day or 2 days back they will realize that something was going to happen, but we realize when it has already started to happen. At that time we realize, we get the signals and all. But these animals and birds, they somehow get aware much before than us. So here for this tsunami also, before this entire earthquake thing happen under the ocean bed, okay, before the waves started rising up, before the tsunami even get created, at that time some people given kind of accounts, that is, after in some interviews people have been telling many things. So many said that domestic animals as well as the wild animals, not only the domesticated animals but also the wild animals, they seem to know what has happened, and they immediately fled to some safer position. They immediately fled to safety. They wanted to save themselves from whatever was coming. So many people eyewitnessed that things to happen. They saw that elephants, they were screaming, they were making loud noises, they were screaming, and they were running for higher ground. Higher ground means a land which is little bit higher than where they normally supposed to be. So they were moving in some higher grounds. Even the dogs, they refused to go outdoors. Normally dogs, they love to roam here and there. They are kind of outdoor creatures. They don't love to be in home all the time. They love outside trips. But dogs, they completely refuse to go outdoors. The flamingo birds, if you can understand what are flamingo birds, these are also wild birds, and they are very large crane type of birds. They are pink in color, and they feed on fish, and they gather around the shallow waters where they can just dip their legs and they can stand and they can wait for the fish to come, and they eat on those fish in that shallow waters. So that was their breeding ground. That is where they are commonly found. But they abandon those breeding grounds. Even if food is available there, they just abandon everything and they flew somewhere else. The zoo animals, they have been rushing into their shelters. Normally, if you can see the structure of the zoo, there is a kind of concrete structure like a room, and the room there will be a kind of open space which will be covered with some grills and rods so that the visitors can see. So normally the zoo animals, they try to take kind of sun bath, they try to get the fresh air, they will come out and they will have a nice time outside. But the zoo animals, people have noticed that they refused to come out. They were just inside those shelters, inside those rooms, concrete rooms. And no matter what they did, giving the uh, giving any kind of delicious food, calling out their names, calling out for coming out, whatever anyone tried, they were just they just refused to come out and do any such things. Abandon meaning completely leaving. Okay, completely leaving some place and going out. Many people believe that animals possess a sixth sense and know when the earth is going to shake. Some experts believe that animals' more acute hearing helps them to hear or feel the earth's vibration. They can sense an approaching disaster long before humans realize what's going on. Now, many experts who are expert in this animal thing, they have given a conclusion that these animals, they have a kind of sixth sense. What is this sixth sense which we do not have? It's nothing magical or nothing like which can predict the future. It's not like that. This is also based on scientific thing. Actually, this animal, they are having a higher level of hearing ability. They hear sound more clearly than us. Okay, so if you take the example of a dog, you see if the dog is sleeping, and if there is any slight noise made by any mouse or any cockroach inside the home, the ear of the dog will move. If you notice a dog very properly, the ear will be moving, the ears will be moving. Means what? The dog is actually recording that voice inside the ear. Okay, it's detecting that voice. So any kind of minute voice is easily detectable by animals. So we humans, we do not have that kind of power, as we can say. So uh, that is the reason perhaps that any kind of vibration that is happening deep within the earth, deep within the earth crust, within the mantle of the earth, whatever happening, maybe we are not able to hear, maybe our modern technical devices are not able to detect that, but these animals, they somehow, they are able to detect that much better than us. And that is how they will easily understand when the earthquake is going to happen, and they will move for their safety. Maybe that is a god gifted talent that they have got, which we have not. We cannot be sure whether animals have a sixth sense or not, but the fact is that the giant waves that rolled through the Indian Ocean killed more than 150,000 people in a dozen countries, but not many animals have been reported dead. So, whether you believe or not that animals are having sixth sense or not, that is a different case. But if you consider this thing that in this tsunami, a lot of people, like more than 150,000 people in different countries, they died. But not many animals had been reported to be dead. Okay, just few number of animals were found to be dead. So what is the mystery? Wild animals, what happened to them? Why did they fly away? Or why did they fled away from that place? What was the reason? Obviously, there was a sixth sense. Along India's Cuddalore coast, where thousands of people perished, buffaloes, goats, and dogs were found unharmed. So, giving the example of India's coast, there many people perished. Perished means died. So, many people, many human beings, they died, but buffaloes, goats, and dogs, normally which the people keep in their home, they were like unharmed. Nothing happened to them, but the people died. The Yala National Park in Sri Lanka is home to a variety of animals, including elephants, leopards, and 130 species of birds. So now we are coming to one picture of Sri Lanka. So in Sri Lanka, there is a national park. The name of the national park, you just need to remember, the Yala National Park. And it is the home for different species of animals and birds. 60 visitors were washed away from the Patanangala beach inside the park. This Yala National Park is situated in such a way that it is close to the it is close to the sea, means the sea beach is also included inside this national park. So it's a beautiful park. So what happened in this tsunami? The effect of the tsunami was in Sri Lanka as well. So when the wave came, 60 people who were inside that Yala National Park in near the beach, okay, enjoying maybe, so they were washed away, and the beach name is Patanangala beach. But no animal carcasses were found except for two water buffaloes. So, so many people died. 60 around 60 human beings were washed away, but no animals were found dead. Means no dead bodies of any animals were found anywhere, except two water buffaloes, because they were in the water. Maybe they took some time to get out of it, or maybe they just missed to understand the warnings. So unfortunately those only two water buffaloes died. About an hour before the tsunami hit, people at Yala National Park had observed three elephants running away from the Patanangala beach. So the eyewitnesses from Patanangala, they said that just few hours before the tsunami actually hit, few hours before, so few hours means around 1 hour before. If 1 hour is a lot of time for anyone to go to a safer place, so around 1 hour before, three elephants, they were near that Patalangala beach, and they found that in kind of in a strange way those elephants were running out of that beach. They were going inside. A Sri Lankan gentleman who lives on the coast near Gale said his two dogs would not go for their daily run on the beach. They are usually excited to go on this outing, he said, but on that day they refused to go and most probably saved his life. So there was another gentleman living in one of the beaches, one of the coastal beach of Sri Lanka, and he had two dogs, and it was his regular habit that he used to take those two walks for a walk along the beach. And the dogs also, they remain always excited to go out and have a nice walk around the beach. So the dogs were always excited. But that day, perhaps the dog must have understood that something wrong is going to happen. So the dogs just refused to go out. And as the dogs refused to go out, this gentleman, this Sri Lankan gentleman, he also did not go out. And as a result, these three of them, they were saved from the tsunami. And later on in one interview, he said that my dogs saved my life. So this is the end of the chapter. So is there any problem, anyone, that you may ask me now? Any problem? Okay, no problem. Okay, then you try to solve the answers by yourself and keep your answers ready. So in my next class, I can proceed with the discussion of these answers. So if you have anything, if you have written anything different, you can tell me that. Okay, if that is wrong or right, that I will let you know. Okay. So let's wait for my next class with you next day. Okay. Okay then. Bye bye.